Well, thank you very much to Erik de Vlieger, who's joining us for 2026's first big interview on the Resident Podcast. Erik, hola, bom dia, tudo bem?
Tudo bem, senhor, tudo bem. And you pronounce my second name very well. That is also.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah. It was the extensive research I've been doing. So, Erik, it's great. It's great to chat with you. You've promised me a spicy and interesting interview.
Yes. Yes.
Your reputation, I think, precedes you as well. How do you describe yourself? How would you describe yourself as a bit of a pen portrait, or if you're in a lift with someone and you need to explain who it is you are and what you do?
I was so afraid that you would ask this question. I was really afraid this morning when I was thinking about it, because I've done hundreds of podcasts, and I'm actually educated by the Dutch Broadcasting Corporation to do interviews as well. And Yikes. they taught me the first thing they taught me is never, if you interview someone, never ask them how they have to describe themselves.
Really? So I failed already.
No, it's actually, you should describe me as an interviewer, because I don't know how to describe me. It's very difficult to talk about myself. It all comes down that I have never been so happy in my life before. Now, is that a start of an interview?
That's fabulous. Why is that, Erik? We want to know your secret.
Look, I'm an Amsterdam boy. Yeah, right. I'm an Amsterdam boy, born in 59. You know, I grew up end 70s, 80s, wild, free, very tolerant country. The Netherlands. The Netherlands actually two countries. It's Amsterdam and it's the Netherlands. And yes, it is. We call it the Kingdom of Amsterdam, because also with the elections, they always vote a different direction in Amsterdam. There's always friction between the government and the mayor of Amsterdam. So I have a bit of that juice over me, that gravy, and I had a very large business in 5 departments. It goes too far to explain that because we don't have that time. And I sniffed on Portugal in 1996 in the Algarve when I bought my first transaction. I bought 610 hectares of land in the Lagos area. By the way, I still have that land. Now, in 2006, I came here a little bit more professionally, and then I was, you know, like so many people from abroad that start to live in the Algarve. I like to talk about the social aspect later. They are one leg in their home world, either England, Germany, Holland, Scandinavia, Canada, America, and they are one leg here. Now, when I entered in 2014 in a notary office in the Algarve, because I was already doing real estate transactions, and I entered in Lagoa in a notary office, and there was this woman. And I looked at the woman and I instantly fall in love, Carl. But instantly. So, and being in
was she a notary? You fell in love with a notary?
I fell in love with the notary. You know how a man can fall in love when you see it? You first look at the looks, you know.
Yeah, you know, I mean, this has got all the hallmarks of a great movie, a Richard Curtis movie.
Yeah, it's coming. So, okay. And being a wild Amsterdam boy and a very integrity notary, she was actually also a member of the disciplinary board of the notaries, helping prosecute notaries commit fraud. So we had an immense difference. And actually, my staff, I had 200 people working because I was owner of Carvoeiro Club those days. My staff made bets how long it would take. Yeah. So in a way, it took me 2.5 years, Carl. Yeah, and I'm coming to that happiness part later. It took me 2.5 years.
Yes, I remember.
To conquer that woman. It was impossible. But I kept on going. It was like a marathon.
Yeah. Must have been love.
Then I needed to do violence. I needed to do something here. So I went to my lawyer, who happens to be a friend of that notary as well, and I asked him for help. He said, "What kind of help do you need?" I said, "I want that woman. I really want that woman." And then he says to me the legendary words. He said it on our marriage. Yeah. And he said, normally clients come to me when they want to divorce, but this guy came to me when he wants. Now, anyway, to cut a long story short, he called me up after some time because he went to discuss with her, very old-fashioned way. And he said, and he called me up. He says, Teresa Maria Bras Dias Frias is ready for flowers. So I'm a painter. Yeah. So I made a very, very nice. I didn't want to come with 50 roses, you know. That's Amsterdam days. Yeah. So what I did was I made a painting of flowers, and then I gave it as a present. And I had my first date. Yeah. So my first date was on a Sunday afternoon. Cut a long story short, end of the date, we're sitting having a glass of wine at 4 o'clock at Quinta de Paraiso in Carvoeiro. So I said, Doctora, because we're still Doctora, Mr. Erik, because it wasn't, no, it's so formal. And with, you know, she had his high blouse on, you know, nothing to be seen there. And then I...
It wasn't Amsterdam.
Yeah, you know. So I said to her this legend, and then I quit. I said, Doctora, I really enjoyed this afternoon. I'd like to do it again. And then she says, Mr. Erik, I really like to do it as well, but the physical part has to wait, because she could read my mind.
Yes, I think you are probably emitting hormones or something there, Erik.
Hormones, big time hormones. So I went to bed Sunday night and I thought by myself, no way, I don't accept that. Because I said, yes, of course, Doctor, of course. Monday morning, I called her up, 9 o'clock in the morning, can I have a meeting? Went there, put my suit on, put my tie on, and 11 o'clock, and she said, okay, what can I do for you? And I said, Doctora, it's about the remark you made yesterday. She says, yes. You said that the physical part has to wait. Yeah? It's a true story. Physical part has to wait. Can you move that a little bit closer, that moment of that physical part? And then she started to laugh. And then the deal was done. Being married to that lady and end the circle, never been so happy in my life before.
How lovely.
Yes, very romantic.
Yeah, that's the word that was on my mind, romance. Yes. And you fighting those forces within you, the need to be a gentleman, the Amsterdam bohemian meeting the civilized man of the Algarve, and
replace bohemian with barbarian, please.
Barbarian Amsterdam boy, as you refer to yourself, and the rest is history. You were happily married, presumably.
I went on my knees. I asked her to marry me. She has 2 daughters. I have 4 children. Lovely mother as well. She lives in Amsterdam. And also the group. We are a wolf pack. They will do very well. Part of them work in the company. Company's becoming very big. If you want to know, I'll tell you later.
Yes.
But very harmonious. And the Algarve has hardly any traffic lights, which is very important. I parked my car almost against the restaurant. Yeah. I don't have to. Amsterdam or London or the big cities, wherever you go, you wake up, you get out of the front door and you start solving problems. Where do I park my car? Oh, there's a traffic light. Oh, is there speeding? Oh, there's all sorts of problems that we take for granted, but if you're here...
Calma. Very good, Erik. Right. Okay. So that sets the scene somewhat about your background. I mean, it's a lovely story, and great to hear that you found love with a Portuguese woman here in Portugal in the Algarve. You casually threw into the conversation there that you had 200 employees at the Carvoeiro Club. Is that right?
Yes, but I sold that company back to my partner because I decided not to be into the management of real estate and renting out, reservation, that kind of thing. No, I wanted to become, and you know, the Dutch always have a bit of a big mouth, yeah, which I have in a way as well. But the Algarve is a very interesting place. It's a very dangerous place for business as well. Very, very dangerous.
Okay.
For many reasons. And I said I had a core team of 3, 4, 5 people, and I said we want to be the largest developer of real estate and the most beautiful real estate developer with the reputation and the products that we make in Algarvian hands.
When was this, Erik? When did you say this?
This was really, say, when I started to make the big transactions, transaction 10 million plus in 2017. In 2007. Okay. So what I did what I did, I built a machine, with very qualified people, which I pay very well. We have a very good bonus structure, really, and I educated my people, I trained my people, so all departments, all bases are occupied: sales, marketing, engineering, office management, and finance. Yeah,
and
so
this is the building of beautiful places for people to live in the Algarve. That's the basic idea.
Yeah.
Right.
We have 29 positions, and 29 positions are either land or buildings, positions that we are going to develop. Paid, but very important. 7 of them are in production, and if I do my total output, we have to sell, to construct between now and 5.5 years, 1,800 units. For the amount of 950 million. We are negotiating some other positions with partners, because I also work with partners. So the overall output between now and 6-7 years, we try to reach over 1 billion. And then you say, why is that important? Well, you have to have a target.
Okay.
You have to have a target. And the company is a very kind group altogether. I'll say friends. Everybody comes in the morning and shake hands. They have very good social contact. Most of them are Portuguese, and they're trained. I trained them in a kind of an international way, because the developers in the Algarve, the good developers, the beautiful developers, are very scarce. They're either Americans, the Arrows and the Lone Stars, or the Spanish, and they come in the Algarve like hyenas. I'm not making friends now. They come, they build houses. No. What I don't like, and I also wrote about that, the guys from Madrid that send their profit to Madrid, and the Americans to send their profit to Wall Street. They, for example, in Vilamura, they're developing apartments for $1 million each, but they want a gardener, the Algarvian gardener that cannot buy a decent house for a normal price, to clean their gardens for €1,000 net per month. That's unfair. And me now being a part of the social system here, because the social system in the Algarve, let's park that one if you have time, is a bit different, because they kind of don't mix. But if you profit and you feel safe and you feel wanted and you feel welcome as a foreigner, which I am half in a way, you also have to do something back for the community. And that is paying your people well, make sure they can go study, go to university, can do extra courses, and make sure they can buy a decent house. And there are no developers in the Algarve, Carl, none, that develop affordable houses for Algarvians. Nobody can buy a house of 225.
It's the same all over Portugal.
It's only tourists.
All over. It's the same all over Portugal, and I imagine it's increased or more difficult in the Algarve, because everybody wants to make a profit, and that's the most obvious place to do it. Now, can I backtrack you a bit here, because I'm loving finding out about you. People will know you, of course. You're quite a character, known in the Algarve, certainly around Carvoeiro. And can I assume then that you have tamed the Amsterdam barbarian, and that wildness, that creative energy is now being channeled through the entrepreneurial output and this development, which is taking to you a billion turnover with your projects?
Carl, there's an old saying, I think it's in English and Portuguese as well. A fox loses his hair, but not his tricks. Yeah. So
that's a brilliant answer. So we know that's a yes then.
No, look, yes, I'm tamed. Yes, I'm tamed. Look, besides love for my wife, there's also another component. My wife is the law, and my wife is deeply, deeply Portuguese from the inside. So
interesting.
The way I communicated as a Dutch too open man insults people here in the Algarve. Yeah. If I have a new shirt and I tell my wife, you like it, and when she doesn't like it, she says it's different.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah?
So you're decoding the politeness.
There's a total different way of communication that we in the Northern Europe are used to, especially in business, than in the Algarve, or let's say Portugal. So yes, in that way, I did indeed changed. I changed, yeah, of course, and you know what it is also. It's such a small community here, Carl. Yeah, I tell you a story. Yeah, my daughter, who is. It was 5 years ago when she was 32 years old. She's a blonde lady, 32, works for the government in The Hague. I was walking with her in Portimao, yeah, and within 5 minutes, my wife got a call from someone.
Your husband is with
Your
a
husband
blonde.
is walking with a young blonde girl around. So you really have to behave here in a way, which I like. Eh?
Yeah.
Which I like. That's not
A
making
check and a balance, a social check and balance.
Yes, and with business, that's another ball game. With business, you just have to be efficient as you can, yeah, and stay on the ball. And every Sunday night, I have a list of my projects. Every project is a book with different stakeholders. And Monday morning, I start to push my people, the stakeholders, the engineers, the architects, and things. That's a bit my business. Yeah, that's a bit my.
So that all that energy, all that brilliant Erik energy, is going into that towards this target of $1 billion in the fund in the business.
It makes me happy because I'm also addicted to working.
Are you?
Bugger off with pension people. I'm not going to buy a bike.
You'll be working forever by the sound of it.
Yeah, and I fall down one day.
Enjoying your life. Enjoying your life.
Yes.
Now, a notable project, Erik, I've been tipped off by my informants here. There is this wonderful project that's part of the portfolio you speak of called Carvoeiro Branco. And it has the hallmarks that you've spoken about. It does look beautiful. It sounds like there's a very engaged and well-trained and happy team working on this. And I do want to talk to you more about that, about how you're treating your employees and this whole idea of affordable housing and how you're addressing those parts of society here in Portugal. Well, let's talk a little bit about this project, which you can buy with cryptocurrency. So you are, I mean, there you are, and you are innovative, absolutely, aren't you? Not only in the finishes and the style of the project, but here we're seeing as well, and you can tell us, what is different about the project, including how people can buy with cryptocurrency. We know Portugal is a bit of a crypto, not a paradise exactly, but certainly a favorable place to be. You're making a development where people can buy with cryptocurrency. Why did you choose to do that?
Well, the project that you just shown is not really the representative project. That's a nice project, but it's only 30 houses. We have in Oljau 340 houses, and in Lagoa 324 houses to construct.
Wow!
But let's go back to the crypto, and I'm not only constructing affordable houses, but I'd say 2/3 of my portfolio is indeed for foreigners, but 1/3 I really try to have affordable houses for people for the Portuguese that work here. Yeah, put it this way.
Yeah, right.
Crypto.
Yeah.
With crypto, look, there's a lot of noise about crypto, buying houses in crypto. So we started that a year ago, really to study and note that I'm married to a notary. So I do not have a better advisor than that notary, and she's a very careful notary, because she doesn't want me to break the law. And what is the key of not breaking the law in cryptocurrency? That is compliance, money laundering. Yeah. The money laundering fact, because there's a lot of respectable people that have crypto and wants to buy something, but in the whole world, there's also a lot of bad people, that bought crypto with cash, and then they sit on that crypto mountain and they say, let's launder it. Now, the Portuguese government has made some laws about this, but the big responsibility is with the notaries in a way, because the notaries need to be able to check if the money is honest or dishonest.
Yeah.
That is the whole thing. So we work with a crypto exchange in Poland. They also have a presence. They will have a presence in Portugal, and the compliance department there, is so good that they use an international bank, and when the money comes from an international bank from Poland into an international bank in Portugal, basically the bank's done this compliance as well. But still then the notary needs to know what that kind of person is. So for example, we sold some houses in crypto, but we really need to know who is the actual buyer. He needs to have a fiscal number in Portugal. There you go. So he pays his taxes. And there is a list, there exists a list made by the European Union of all bad people, of which most of them are Russians. So when you have a Sergei Antonov, born in St. Petersburg, wants to buy crypto in crypto.
That raises a flag, does it?
That's out. That kind of thing. So there are lists.
But clearly, then you see crypto as part of the future of trading and enterprise and business. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of people think it's a craze and something to be avoided, something that's going to collapse at some point. But you see it as a respectable currency and a way of doing business.
Well, maybe the crypto is going to collapse. Maybe it's not going to collapse. Maybe the dollar is going to collapse. Maybe the euro is going to collapse. We don't know.
Right.
And
exactly.
if you start reading all the analysts from both parties, you get crazy. So what I do with the crypto, whenever we receive the crypto, we exchange it immediately in currency. Because we don't want to hold crypto.
You don't hold. You're not a hodler.
Very
interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Okay. Clearly, we're going to have a part two. There's a really important question I want to ask you about your obvious love for Portugal. One woman in particular, but your love of Portuguese culture and your want to give back. And I want to find out about how you see the future of the country and what you think should be done about the leadership and direction of the country. But you're doing your own bit in terms of setting aside an allowance of affordable housing to make it possible for Portuguese people to buy in the Algarve and around where you're developing. And you're paying people well by the sound of it. You're training people well. You're giving them a good experience of employment, which isn't always the case, is it? That clearly is important.
It's so nice. It's so nice to live like that.
Right, absolutely. But not everybody does that. Do you think it's important that more people start doing that in this country?
What it is? If you live in a country like Portugal, and I choose to be, it's my country where I want to live, there's many good things, but there's also shadow things. There's also things which I don't like.
Right.
And I think the Portuguese employers are not so kind for the employees. Mm. They're not so. Look, in Northern Europe, it's hard to always compare, but in Northern Europe, a boss of a company is pretty personal with his staff. Mm-hmm. Here not. It's a big difference. Especially the high end, the top market. Because we take Portugal, when Salazar or when the communists and the socialists came in, it became more the people. Forget it. There is an enormous distance in the elite and the normal worker. Believe me, they don't sit next to each other at a football game. Also in Benfica, the classes in Portugal are extreme, and we come from a culture. I don't know where you come from, Carl, but we come from a culture where the classes are closer to each other, but not in Portugal. Now and then you come to the Algarve, and now I can finally also talk about that. Okay, look, tolerant. Welcome, we're all welcome, we foreigners, we strangers. We are welcome and things and that and the other. But when I go to my Silvers football club, there's only people from Portugal there. There's not a foreigner. When I go to a theater, here the local theater, which I like to go, it's all Portuguese and no foreigners. The foreigners are in the restaurants, in the bars, not really. We think we mingle with the Portuguese. No. The Dutch mingle with the Dutch.
How do we change? I mean, clearly you're doing your bit. How do we change that, Erik? I agree with you.
getting children, mixing.
Yeah. Falling in love. Back to
I have
where
to
we
all to get
started.
children. No, but that in the long term, that will be the assimilation of two people. But the only reason why we are welcomed and that they're tolerant and that they're kind and that it's safe has an economical reason.
That's
And when
so
something has
interesting, Eric.
it doesn't really have a social reason. I don't see a German with a Portuguese really becoming friends. It's
Do you know
always
that it's fascinating, isn't it? Because you're
Yes, it is.
absolutely right, and it's incredible, isn't it? And you've lifted the lid on something there, because we are very welcome, and the Portuguese culture is so hospitable. Portuguese culture, Portuguese people are brilliantly welcoming and great friends to have. But you think it kind of stops as a glass wall almost of integration?
Yes, it is. It is. Of course, we have some Portuguese friends, but you know, it's not that they knock on my door. Yeah, I'm married to a Portuguese. This is a miracle. Yeah, but it's not. I don't know. It's not. There is this difference between the Portuguese and the foreigners, and also within the foreign community. Believe me, there's a Dutch club. There's an English club. The English prefer to stay with the English in the Algarve to drink a pint. There is some friendship, but not really. It's with the Dutch and the Germans and the Americans and the Portuguese. The Algarve is very segregated in a way.
Right. And so you would welcome any... I mean, people need that in a way, don't they? You know, I think it would be perhaps foolish to think that human beings don't want to mix with people they identify with, but not at the cost or exclusion of mixing with others as well. And that's what you'd like to see more of, presumably.
I give you an example. My daughter followed me. My youngest daughter, I have 2 boys, 2 girls. My youngest daughter followed me to Portugal. She's an interior architect. And I had to rebuild my house. And I did it with a constructor, and my daughter was the interior architect. Sure enough, they got a relationship, and and suddenly she was pregnant. So my daughter has 2 children from a Portuguese construction. They're a couple. They live together in Silvers, and these children now 1 and 1.5 and 3 years or 4 years, daughter and a boy. They have that unreal mix of Dutch and Portuguese. As the grandfather, I speak to her in Dutch, and she answers to me in Portuguese. She knows both of the languages. Brilliant. So that's what I mean, an assimilation. So the children of these people are the future Algarvians, international orientated, bilingual, still in Portugal. That is the future from the Algarve in 50 to 60 years.
That's what I was going to ask you. Is that how you see the future? Do you think that's a working model for the protection of Portuguese culture? Because the Portuguese themselves aren't having children, are they? We see that it's a value for the culture to be a Christian family culture, having children. But Portuguese people are delaying this, aren't they? So
yes, it's a big problem. It's a big problem because what do we see now? If I go to a restaurant in Silvers, with all respect, I'm being served by a person from Nepal that doesn't speak English or Portuguese. I have to. It's like a Chinese menu. I want 69 babi pangang. You know? So what we also do now, and that is the danger, because and the hospitals and the restaurants, we need people because there are no people. So that's naturally we import from immigration, which is okay, which is good. This is from the last 1,000 years. Although when you import certain religious people, but let's not go into that. So, but also these people from Nepal, from Tibet, from India, you don't see the mixing. I see 5 Indians walking on the street together, speaking their own native language, but they don't mix. And so,
you could say that about the British as well, but maybe we should save that for part 2. But I do get your point. I mean, when immigration becomes integration, that's when we're on to something
Yes, sir.
useful, perhaps, and
Yes,
that's that's what you've
yes,
done. Literally
yes.
cemented relationships, I would say, in the
Yeah,
in the business of
yeah,
development, Eric. It's
yeah.
been fantastic talking to you, and I hope we
Thank you.
can do it again. It does seem like we should check in with you on a regular basis from the with your training in the Dutch Broadcasting Corporation and the amazing projects that you're doing. So is this the right way for people to find what you're doing? Carvoeirobranco.com. Is that a good place to
Yeah,
start?
yeah.
Okay.
Carvoeiro Branco. And there's one thing I need to say that in all the projects that I've done from 2006, there has never been a project where the people that bought houses we never made a profit.
Right. Okay.
All the
Very good.
houses, all the houses increase in value because of one secret: don't be
Go
too
on.
greedy. Don't be too greedy.
Okay. Don't
Most
be
of the
too.
developers don't think you're gonna hit. Don't be too greedy.
Well, that I was going to ask you for a final word or some advice for people for 2026 from the great book of wisdom that is Erik de Vlieger. Is that it? Don't be too greedy. Is there anything else you want to add as a message for 2026 as we go into a new year here in Portugal?
Stay healthy.
Stay healthy. Look after your health as well, right? And I'm guessing you mean mental health as well as physical health.
Yeah, but mental health, I'm already lost. I mean physical health.
Okay, fair point. All right, Eric, great to chat with you. Looking forward to doing it again already. Thank you very much indeed. Ciao, bon dia.
Bye bye. Bye bye.